This video will show you how to optimize the display format of your surveys in Qualtrics in order to display differently for web respondents and mobile respondents. So I'm looking at this question here, and I have 4 response options here along the top: strongly agree to strongly disagree. And now if I go into preview survey to take a peek at what this looks like, I'm not happy with how this looks. And so if I notice here, like, strongly agree is on 1 line, everything else is on 2. If I feel that things are generally going to go into 2, I want to standardize that. And so I want them to all look the same. So I would do that by going into each response option, going to the rich content editor, and I'm going to break this across the 2 lines. And so I'm going to do this for each one of them pretty quickly to give us a place to start. Now, if you have longer response option text, you might think about 3 lines. You might also think about using different response options. So I have all these. Now, if I go back to preview survey, head over to this question, this looks a lot better. I'm satisfied with this. All these are standardized, and it's more visually appealing. However, once you look over at this mobile device preview, you notice this is a little weird. Now, I have basically changed the formatting so that everything is broken onto 2 lines and centered. Now, this doesn't translate well for mobile. You see, this is quite a ways away from our radio box here. And so I want to change that. And actually, I don't want any formatting for this because I want this to read straight across and be right next to this radio button for the respondents. Now, what you'll have to do to this is you're going to have to duplicate each one of these response options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to scale points, and I'm going to go from 4 up to 8. And now I'm going to duplicate each one of these just in plain text. So I'm going to start with strongly agree, somewhat agree, somewhat disagree, and strongly disagree. This will get cumbersome if you have many response options, but it's for the best. Now, I have these first 4 are currently all formatted so that they work well on a computer, and then these 4 will be my mobile ones. Now, I like to put all these next to each other, and I typically will leave the ones that are formatted for web in the first slide, and then follow that with the ones that are mobile. So I'm going to move this up to be next to this. So now these are both the same, so they're clearly right there. This will make it a little easier to do something in a couple steps. So I'm just going to move all these up. Now that I've done this, now I want to change this, because currently, if I leave this in here like this, we look at the preview survey, you see that everything's just doubled. This isn't helpful, and this isn't what we want. So formatting's all there. Now we have to selectively display each of these. And so with this one is for web respondents. And so if you click on this little arrow here, you can add display logic. And so you want to click on that. And instead of adding display logic based on a question, you want to select this. You want to go down to the bottom. Go down to device type. By default, it goes to device type is mobile. This isn't what we want. We actually want is not mobile. I'm going to save that. And then for the next one, I'm going to do just the opposite. I want it is mobile. I'm going to work my way through and do this for everything. Again, is mobile. And so You see, this does make this a little bit faster when you have these all in the same order. So with the web formatting first, followed by the mobile formatting, and I can do this, and then it quickly becomes second nature of what I'm having to do. Doesn't take that long to do. So this is good. And so if I go to preview survey, I want to provide a little disclaimer here. So we see there's only 4 now. This is because Qualtrics has picked up that, all right, I am on a desktop computer. So I'm going to show only those web formatted, so you see that these are all centered. However, you look over on the right, and you notice that these are also only showing the centered options, or the centered formatting. The problem here is that currently how Qualtrics is programmed is this little fake cell phone is actually still picking up that I am on a desktop computer. So it's going to show that desktop formatting. So what you'll have to do in order to really see if this formatting is working is you'll have to click up at the top. There's a little QR code. You click on that, it'll enlarge the QR code, and then you can actually scan that on your device, and then you can go through and check the formatting. And you'll want to do that with each of these, because this will not give you an accurate indication of what this is going to look like. However, you'll just have to bear with me, and I'll tell you that this is working. And one of the ways you can see that it is working is because we only see the 4 response options that are for the web. So you see all 4 of these that are centered. So this is good. This is showing us that it is working. Again, check the QR code. Now, the last part of this is we currently have 8 scale points. Now, we don't want Qualtrics to think that each one of these is actually different. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the advanced question options, and we're going to recode the values. So if we click on the box next to recode values, we see that this is currently 1 through 8. Now, one of the reasons that I like to keep the strongly agrees next to each other, somewhat agrees next to each other, is because it makes this next step really easy. So I'm going to basically recode both of the strongly agrees to 4, both the somewhat agrees to 3, and then so on. And this is a lot easier when everything's right next to each other, and you can quickly process through everything. Now, the recoding of the actual values is done. Now we're also going to want to rename the variables themselves. So if you click on the variable naming box, you notice that this has all that HTML formatting, and we don't want any of that. So what you can do is quickly just copy the plain text here and paste it over here, and do that for each one of these response options. And so this way, when you download it at the end of your data collection, everything is named appropriately, everything is coded appropriately, and what you end up with, no matter what device type the respondents are using, if they say strongly agree, then it will be coded as a 4 and it will be labeled strongly agree, instead of having to process this on the back end.